Hi everyone, this is Michelle Kremser with ELTAS Germany, and I'm here in Belfast with the IATEFL Conference 2022 with Beatrix Price, who was a former IATEFL President Hungary, right?
Yes, IATEFL Hungary.
And we're here on this not so lovely day, a little bit of rain outside, and we're going to talk today about professional development and English language teacher associations with Beatrix, okay? So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, head to head.
Yes, hello everybody. So my name is Beatrix Price, as I heard from Michelle, and I'm a former president of IATEFL Hungary, and I've been doing my PhD research on English language teachers associations and professional development.
Okay, and so what can you tell us about, what is the trends in the professional development? What can you recommend for us teachers for our professional development?
Right, so first of all, it's very important that English language teachers and teachers as such are intrinsically motivated.
Okay.
That's a very important point because we always want to do better. It's really a life or death situation when we go into the classroom. If we do it right, then it goes well. And then our learners know it, and so we always want to do it better.
That's right.
And then so professional development really comes from this, that we want to do something more, something better, something more professional. And so professional development is really this lifelong learning, this ongoing process. That's why it is called continuing professional development. And of course there are some teachers who just go on with the day-to-day tasks, but I think that if somebody experiences this joy that a conference like this gives us, in Belfast or Glasgow or Brighton or Liverpool, Manchester, wherever, and we go back, we will be a little bit better teachers next week and on.
That's true. It's something, for me, it always ups your game a little bit when you're refreshing your skills and adding to them. So it's a really nice environment to be in. And for me, it's the first time here for an international conference with IATEFL. So it was very, very, it's been a goosebumps experience for me.
Absolutely.
So can you tell me a little bit about your involvement and what you're doing? I believe your PhD is with the teachers or associations, right?
Yes. So I started not too long ago with teachers associations. About 13, 14 years ago, I got involved with my national ELTAS, IATEFL Hungary, and very soon I became a volunteer because I really loved the atmosphere, the buzz of the association, and also really growing, and it was a rapid growth. If you become a member of a teachers association, it's not a slow growth, it's a rapid growth. Mm-hmm. And so I became a member, and then very soon took on roles, newsletter editor, events organizer, conference organizer. And then I didn't even look around. I was vice president, and after a couple of years, president of my association. And I always wanted to write my PhD on a different topic, but I was so involved and so I thought it was such an important topic, and there had been not much research done on teachers' associations. And then I just started, and I have not regretted it at all, because it's a wonderful thing, and I can see that people or teachers who are involved, not just teachers, ELT professionals who are involved in teachers' associations really benefit from this environment a lot.
So what are some of the current trends? Because there's been some buzz lately at IATEFL and everything. So what can you say about the current trends? Particularly post-COVID, I think everybody's interested in.
Yes. So before COVID, there were already a lot of workshops and talks and research done on online education. And then some of the teachers looked at it with a little bit of
Skepticism,
thank you very much for the word. But then, at the outbreak of COVID-19, the 14th of March in Hungary, I remember the date, we were thrown into the deep water over a weekend.
Yeah.
So we went home on Friday, and Monday you had to go back to the classroom, but not to the physical classroom, but to the virtual classroom. And then there was no choice but to do the professional development. And then immediately there were little groups being formed. People were helping each other. People were phoning each other, Zoom meetings, Microsoft Teams, etc. So it was really important that everybody had to do the development. And then, of course, it's a big question now, if we go back to the well-trodden paths of teaching with the chalk and board, or how much of this wonderful new expertise, skills and knowledge that we gained we will be using in our classrooms. And I think it's really important that the situation forced us to find new ways because before the pandemic, although learners already wanted this change, not all the teachers were up to changing their repertoire and their avenues.
This is true, and I think in the end, what they found out that they had to do was you're either going to make a change or you're going to stop teaching. And some of the teachers were actually at the point where they're, okay, it's time for me to retire, where I might not have done it had the things continued as they were. And then others, I found, particularly in our organization, others had needed time to process and see that, okay, even though I'm older and even though this is new, it's not that difficult and I can get help. Our own organization, we had two groups that popped up in our organization. We had our tech group that met at the beginning. They were meeting like once a week or once every 2 weeks. And now that we meet once a month, and this is something we offer to our members as like an added bonus.
Wonderful.
And the topics that come up are things that our teachers are interested in that they might need help with. And then the other group that popped up was like a support group. To meet every Friday or once every 2 weeks on a Friday, and how are you doing? Is everything okay? Are you coping? This kind of thing.
Yes. Actually, you asked me about the trends, what new things there are. I think learner autonomy is a very, very important thing now, because we learned in the pandemic that if we don't teach our learners how to work independently, then we don't get very far. So one of the trends is learner autonomy. Then, of course, about global issues, because now we can see that using the internet and then being a globally united around the world, this is very important as well. Business English, of course, as has been already very, very important. And then I think young learner teaching is also becoming, I'm not saying that a trend, but gets more attention, gets the well-deserved recognition in our profession, because it has been quite neglected in the past. And our first plenary talk was also about teaching young learners, and now also teaching very young learners, which has not been well exploited in our profession at all. There was only a very, very narrow path for teachers in this direction. So these are the ones that come to my mind just now.
Yeah, and it's we still have people who are joining the tech group in our organization and asking for refreshers on things like Teams, on Zoom and breakout rooms, because it's every one is a little bit of a different animal, so you have to get used to them.
Absolutely.
And and then all of the requirements of the data protection and all of this and everything. But with an organization like ours, you have the support. If you can't contact one person, another person has that information for you.
Absolutely, and also having a formal association, like in your case is ELTAS Stuttgart or the other local organizations in Germany or the national associations in our other countries. But it's really interesting to see how these smaller communities of practice just pop up, as you said, from one day to another. And then people really can see their direction, where they identify themselves with the others, what their professional interest is. And then many times we belong to different communities of practice.
That's right.
And then we give and we gain. And in some communities of practice, we are the knowledge providers, and in others, we are the knowledge receivers, because we want to learn something totally new. And this keeps us going, this giving and receiving. Yeah. It always this two-dimensional.
What I found also was that, for example, the support group, the numbers, as we got used to the changing situation, the support group numbers and meeting sessions, they dwindled and dwindled until it was no longer really, we found, necessary. But then we had the tech group, and what we found that we had some teachers that have some extra special qualifications that are really well versed in things. They come from different backgrounds and everything, and are willing to share more. So it's as you say, it's a giving and receiving, giving back to the community where you can, helping our fellow teachers with things that are difficult, or new things, that all of the new things that you can use online with teaching, games, word wall, everything, all kinds of things, and how to effectively use them, because it's and you can't use them all. I mean, not everybody is going to use every last little tool, but you can take a couple of tools and adapt them to your program.
We've got our favorites, I think.
Yeah.
And then my method is that I always want to try out something new. Because that also keeps me going, because I'm bored with things that I just keep repeating. So I always want to learn new things, and then I learn something. I say, okay, next week I would like to introduce this. And then I experiment a little bit with those platforms or apps or something. And I also enjoy it, because if I don't enjoy teaching, then how can I expect that my students will enjoy what we are doing or what I am doing? And this comes back to one more point that I wanted to say, but I forgot when you asked about the topics, well-being. I think this is one of the trends, and it's not because we want to say, oh, this is so good and so, but if we are not well in our body and mind and spirit, we can't be good teachers. So learner well-being is just as important as teacher well-being. And then I think this is also one of the reasons we come to these conferences, because then we talk to this like-minded people, and then we are reassured that what we are doing is, yes, get somewhere.
That's right, and it's on the right path. And with teacher well-being, and not all of us are just teachers. Some of us are teachers and coaches, and so it really helps to get you remotivated and on the right track again. So thank you so much, Beatrix, for joining us today. It was really great meeting you. And we'll see you again on our next head-to-head. Thank you so much for joining us here in Belfast.
Yes, good luck with your professional development. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.